Hey, hey there. We are here in Newt Park, in the lovely part of Hillcrest, with our friend Mark Curry. Mark Curry has written a beautiful new song, a tragically beautiful new song called "The Land of Endless Summer." As we all know, in February, on Valentine's Day, in Parkland, Florida, the tragedy that occurred at the high school, and Mark, um, that song came from that. Will you tell us a
Yeah.
little?
Well, I mean, the event itself, obviously, I mean, everybody was affected by it, I think, and but over the next few days, I'm a father. I've got my youngest kid's 17, and so perspective sometimes changes as you take on those different roles. And so, as a dad, I'm watching some of these parents as they're processing, and I'm watching these kids as they're processing and kind of pushing back against the way that we've always responded to these kinds of things. Just a few days after the shooting, I saw Fred Gutenberg on one of the morning news shows, and his daughter Jamie was one of the victims, and he was talking about Jamie, and it just struck me. A lot of what he was saying about her reminded me of my own kids, and the thing that I think really blew me away is that in the midst of all that tragedy, when he talked about Jamie, he kind of lit up. I mean, it was like you could tell that this wasn't just normal grief. This was a man who was crazy about his daughter, and that she was this amazing part of their family, and that really struck me. And so as I was thinking about that and kind of rolling it around in my head, a verse kind of started coming out of that was sort of inspired by the things that he said about Jamie. And then I started reading the bios of all of the other victims, the other kids, and there were some teachers as well who were killed that day. And the one that really jumped out at me after Jamie was a young man named Alex Schachter. And Alex was in the marching band. He was in the ninth grade, and he was in the marching band, and that immediately grabbed me because I was a band kid in high school, and he played trombone and baritone, and that was his thing. When his dad talked about him, that was what Alex loved more than anything, was being in the marching band. That was kind of like how he defined himself. And so once I sort of read that, then I kind of had the template of where I wanted to go with the song. And so, at least in the first half of the song, I talk about those two kids. And then, maybe just the larger issue of how we respond, but also how the survivors, the teenagers that were there, how they've responded and have stood up and just kind of screamed no to the adults who have told us, year after year as this crap happens, that, we can't talk about guns, we can't talk about, these controversial things. And these kids are standing up and going, no, that's not acceptable. That's not an acceptable answer. We have to talk about it, and we have to talk about it now. And just that idea that I began to feel hope, that because I see this younger generation and I look at those kids and I look at my own kids, and I think, you know what, they're gonna be voting in a year, and they're gonna change the world, and they're gonna build a better world than the one that my generation has given them.
Not even mine.
Yeah, and that is, to me, like unbelievably hopeful. And so the song just kind of flowed out of this combination of grief and tragedy, but also mixed with a surprising amount of hope.
Right.
Even for me, because I tend to be pretty pessimistic about these things, and so I even kind of surprised myself that I have felt pretty hopeful over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it is so
About the
easy
whole
to be pessimistic.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
yeah.
an easy default to go to, and to see what these kids have done and inspired pretty much the country.
Right.
And, speaking of this Saturday, the March for Our Lives that's happening all over the country, even, at the Capitol.
Right.
Our Capitol. And afterwards, you'll be performing at the after show at Vino's, right?
Well, that may not happen.
Oops.
That's
Okay.
there have been some scheduling issues that have gone on with that, so that event may happen at some other time.
Well, just in case, can we hear at the Land of Endless Summer?
Yeah. I'd happy to do that. I will also tell you that after I wrote the song, I called Mark Colbert at Capitol View Studios, and I told him what I'd done, and I said I want to record this song, but I don't have any money, and I don't, what's motivating this isn't going to generate any money. And he said, yeah, let's do it. What about tomorrow? So I grabbed a couple of other musicians, Matt Stone and David Valley, and we all got in the studio and essentially cut the song live in the studio, and then threw it out on the internet, like the next Monday. And they've gotten a lot of cool feedback, and a lot of people listening, and even no direct commentary too much, but I got a very short note from Alex Schachter's father.
Oh my goodness!
That just said thank you.
That's beautiful.
Which just kind of blew me away. And,
right. Where can they find the song?
It's on SoundCloud is where we posted it, and you can just look me up on SoundCloud, and the song will be there. It's also Arkansas Times posted a link. Shindig Music has posted a link.
Okay.
A blog out of Nashville called Mother Church Pew has posted it as well. So it's different places. On my Facebook page, at my website, markcurry.com.
That's the easiest way to find most Mark Curry.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well.
All right, let's do it. All right. She could talk about forever, but she had dreams she couldn't tell. She was sunlight, she was laughter, she was water from a well. On a day like any other, stories sometimes realign. In this land of endless summer, the day the sun refused to shine, he could slide the notes on the bottom on a field on Friday night. Big brass buttons on his collar, the 40-yard line on his right, marking time until the intro. But he never got to play in a land of endless summer. The day the music went away, every heartbeat tells a story, and every breath can sing a song. Every time a barrel flashes, someone's everything is gone. Maybe we don't know the right thing, maybe we ain't got the will. In this land of endless summer, rise again someday.
Man, that's pretty.
Thank you.
I mean, again, tragically pretty. I hate
Yeah.
to, yeah, again, you celebrate, and as, you were talking about the father that when he talked about his child was just smiling. I mean, you've
Yeah,
got to,
yeah. Yeah.
Second to catch my breath here. But this is not your first, I guess, song about, I guess, social change and social justice. That's always been kind of a core issue with you.
Yeah, and I don't typically think of myself as a kind of political songwriter, and I haven't written a lot of stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly a part of who I am personally. And the trick is that it's not always that you can take those things and make it into art that's it's not shoehorned. It needs to still needs to be a good song.
Of course.
That's what you hope it would be. And but yeah, used to play with a band here locally called Monk House, and wrote a song a few years ago after a conversation with our friend Aaron Redden, who has the van. And I imagine most of your followers know about the van, but they kind of take care of the homeless population here in Central Arkansas. And it's a cool thing that they do, because they go out where people are and take them things they need.
Right.
Instead of necessarily trying to get people to change the way they're living, they just meet people where they are, and they ask them, how can we help? And which to me is very cool. But I had a conversation with Aaron several years ago, and it was during a particularly cold snap in Little Rock. It was single digits at night, which is obviously a pretty hard time for the homeless population. And one of the things that he told me is that the Salvation Army, while they will accept people, to come in there and sleep at night when it's cold, they charge $7 for a bed. And while that doesn't seem like much on the surface, if you're homeless and don't have any kind of income, $7 can be a lot of money. And the question that Aaron posed to me that kind of haunted me for weeks was, if you were a young girl or guy,
right,
and were homeless, and it was 8 degrees outside, and you didn't have $7, and that's what you needed for a warm place to sleep, what would you do for $7?
That is.
And I thought a lot about that, and that kind of ended up leading to a song, because I got angry at just the idea of that, and it occurred to me that most of the things, whether it is what we're seeing now with the conversation about changing gun laws, most of those things don't happen until we get angry enough that we're just not gonna put up with it anymore. We're not gonna be put off
Right.
anymore. And that's what we're seeing with these kids. We're seeing this anger that's rising up in them that is refusing to be quiet and be nice. And that's changing things.
Yeah, when one person can stand
yeah,
up, that
yeah.
leads to another, it leads to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the ended up entitling the song "Ain't That Angry Yet," and rather than make all of it about the homeless, I picked 2 or 3 different things that make me angry, and kind of fashioned all of that into a song. So
I gotcha. Well, to close out this episode of Follow the Wolf, and to hopefully encourage us all to get out there and get angry about something, whether you're going to join us this Saturday at March for Our Lives at the Capitol,
yeah.
or whatever is in your heart, go out there and do something.
Yeah, get involved. March, vote, sign a petition. Just get involved. Do something besides post about it on Facebook.
Right. But do that too.
Do that as well.
There's no telling who all's reading that post. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, Mark, will you close us out with that one?
I will. Yeah.
All righty. Thanks again.
Well, she used to be a beauty. Now she's got nowhere to sleep. Her life ain't been no fairy tale. She's only 17, but it's only $7 for a place to sleep inside. So she's in the alley selling love 1 minute at a time. Her mama let her run away at his nightly threats. Well, she'd like to save her baby, but she ain't that angry yet. We got famine and disease and war, and rumors of war too. But if your skin is brown, then we ain't got no help for you. Well, we really should do something. Maybe we could send a plane. We'd like to solve your problems, but we do not want your name. Your situation is pretty dire, so take what you can get. Well, we'd like to help you more, but man, we ain't that angry yet. Well, now here's a pretty preacher wearing Jesus on his sleeve. Said, if you don't look like we do, man, I guess you'll have to leave. And he says the Bible tells him who he can and cannot hate. And he promises redemption in the passing of the plate. Well, if Simon Peter admit this man, knew he'd still be at his nets. Lord, but I'm still on the back row, 'cause I ain't that angry yet.
All right. Mark Currey, everybody.